And welcome back to Open Line. Chuck Long here with attorney Kevin Kennedy. It's always great to be here with Kevin. I know you think that as well because you call in nonstop throughout the entire hour, and we really appreciate it. And Kevin gives some great advice, and a lot of people benefit from that. Kevin, our lines are extremely busy. This is our last segment to take on the questions, so we want to get to as many as we can during this segment. So let's go right back to the lines right now. Jeff, you are on the line with us. We're glad that you've joined us here on Open Line. What's your question for Kevin? You with us, Jeff?
Is this, for Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Mr. Kennedy, it's always good to see you on the show.
Thank you.
I was referred to a podiatrist some time ago, and when I called to confirm the appointment, I gave them all my insurance numbers, and they were accepted. Everything was cool, so I went in to the actual appointment and presented them with my insurance cards. Everything was cool, you know. I was accepted, and come to find out, they're sending me a bill for $131 out of pocket. And I don't understand. They seem to take my insurance numbers.
Okay, and we hear that all the time. Thank you for the question. We go back to Kevin Kennedy saying, a good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding. So I had that same problem. I went to a hospital and I gave the insurance card. We're good to go. Everything's fine. We get away. 30 days later, I get this gigantic bill. I called. I said, hey, wait a minute. There's a misunderstanding. We've got They said, you are out of the network. I said, hold on, my friends. That was never told to me when we went in. In fact, your people represented that this would be taken care of. My wife was with me. And so he just tried to get a little sarcastic. So I just said, okay, we'll send a letter. So we sent a letter back and it was handled. The real world is all these people will take advantage of you. And of course, when you say, what was the girl's name? That's why we should try to get people's names. It was Shirley. It was Joan. And Joan represented to me. And you hear all the phone calls now? This phone call may be monitored. Well, they're taping you. They want you to say, because they're going to use that tape for your benefit? No, it's for their benefit. So I would go back and maintain with them. If they represented to you, this would have no insurance. If it's a copay and they told you, then a good understanding, this is what we are obligated to pay. We're going to pay our bills. But that makes a good statement. So you go back, you evaluate what was said and what was represented and stand on it in advance.
All right. Thanks so much for that call, Jeff. We are going right back to our lines, getting to as many as we can in our last segment. Robert is on the line with us. Robert, good evening. You are on Open Line. What's your question for Kevin? Can you hear us, Robert? Robert, you're with us. You're on Open Line. Okay. Well, we're going to have to go. Okay, go ahead, Robert.
I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure.
We have a small farm, and we had a... Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. And Robert, if you turn your television down, it'll be easier for you to communicate with us.
Okay, I've got it on mute. Will that work?
Okay, that's good.
Okay. We have a small farm, and we have a cemetery on it, and it's never been registered, and I have heard that if we're selling the property around it, I've heard that if it's not registered, they can desecrate it. And I'd like to know if that's so, and if it is, what I need to do to register it.
Yep. First off, as a cemetery, there comes certain rights with the cemetery property. And if you had some on there, there needs to be a disclosure. If you're going to sell this property, you put it in there that there is a cemetery on, and then there's a host of state laws that go to protect cemeteries. So that's what I would do. I've sold farms and bought farms, and people are always sensitive when you get into a problem is when you say, hey, there is a cemetery, but there were no headstones. Well, guess what? They've got a problem, and if they need to move it, they have to petition the court to get permission. As a general rule, those cemeteries are going to be there, and they're going to be respected and honored. Takes a court order to try to move them.
Okay. Well, once again, great advice there, Kevin. Robert, we appreciate your call. Glad you were able to get through. We do need to take a break, but Kevin, before we let you go, once again, you always have incredible advice throughout the hour, but tonight, my takeaway is a good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding. I love that.
Touche. My star student, you're going to be a lawyer. I'm going to take you to the Kennedy Law Firm. They'll say, see Chuck Law. Yes, that is great. And I want everyone to learn it because it is so good, Chuck. Thank you for reminding and sharing it. And when you finish with it, remember this. They said, where'd you learn it? Kevin C. Kennedy. A good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding.
Absolutely. Kevin, as always, it's a pleasure. We appreciate you being with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll tell people how to get a hold of you. So come on back with us. You're watching Open Line.